Hi, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com. I'm here with Kendra G. She's one of the hosts of All Black Social Society. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, it's absolutely weird, right?
It's
Because
weird.
because how am I interviewing the interviewer? I feel like I'm really in some sort of strange, like inception sort of situation. So it's the strangest thing ever.
No, it's so funny. I just actually made a video about that on my Instagram page that I am the interviewer normally, and now
Hmm.
I'm on the other side of the fence as the interviewee. And it definitely is weird for me because I like to be in control of the
Hmm.
interviews, but now I have to sit back and answer the questions. So I'm out of my comfort zone a little bit.
No, I can imagine it. I mean, for you, is it because you do ask people a lot of different questions and you get into a lot of topics? Is it hard for you to talk about yourself? Does it feel a little uncomfortable?
Oh no, not at all.
Hmm.
Not at all. I've been in media now for more than 20 years. I'm very
Hmm.
transparent. I know people are just getting familiar with me, but the people that have been following my career throughout this whole last 20 years are very familiar that I'm an open book and I'm
Hmm.
always willing to talk about my personal life. That's why it's so easy to talk about your personal life.
I know, right? So I first became familiar with you. I mean, there have been like a lot of just, it seems like most recent years, a lot of viral moments. I will be honest with you. The first time that I became familiar with you is probably around the time around, I was familiar, but super familiar, like around the time with the Jason Lee butting of heads in terms of the colorism statement. And I thought that your commentary there was very important. It may not have necessarily, it was missed, unfortunately, in the moment, but I think a lot of people got it. So I thought that was interesting. Of course, as a dark skinned person, I appreciated what you were saying because people don't understand that when you insult a dark skinned person, it's very, very different.
Oh yeah. Okay. So back to that interview. And Jason Lee and I have since made up. Since
Good.
that
Hmm.
interview.
Hmm.
But a lot of people would say that I lost control. What she's talking about is basically the backstory was it was a conversation about basketball wives, and they were having what I felt. I mean, me and OG are friends now, but at this time I was a viewer. I didn't know
Hmm.
OG the way I know her now. We actually became friends, and me using my media platform to talk about what I felt was going on that show. And I did feel as though she experienced colorism. But the interview you're referring to, me and Jason had difference of opinions of how we saw that episode. And some would say that I lost my temper, I lost control because I was like screaming and yelling. But I take nothing back. I think as
Hmm.
a black woman, I would have reacted the same. And if I'm sitting across from someone telling me that a black woman is ugly, yeah, I think I should lose my cool. If you're
Hmm.
telling me a black woman's ugly and this other woman's prettier and you represent a black man, I'm gonna lose my cool. So I don't have
Hmm.
any regrets on how I reacted in that interview. That was a moment. That was a moment that happened like 2 years ago. But just for the reality right now, me and Jason Lee, we don't have no beef over that interview anymore.
I'm okay. I'm glad to hear that. I love that. But just generally speaking, too, I just don't call people ugly. Like that's just not something that I I agree with. But before we get into social society, I do want to talk about some of the other things that you do because you've got just a whole bunch of things going on. Uh, First of all, is the real HU Hampton, which you went to, or is
Of
it Howard?
course,
I
the
know,
real HU was Hampton University. What are you talking about, girlfriend? And I believe, look, I gotta research this, but I
yeah.
believe Hampton copywrote HU, like for blue and white schools for HBCUs. So I believe Howard can't even be HU. I think they have to be Howard U. I need to research that to make sure it's factual. But as a proud Hampton University graduate, I'm always gonna say Hampton is the real HU.
Okay, that's what's up. And if that's true, then the real HU Hampton, y'all definitely got the power move up on them for that. That's pretty smart. So I want to talk about maybe like your earlier influences. Who made you who you are, or who influenced you?
I mean, just not to be cliche, but my dad, I'm gonna give him the credit in the
Mm.
beginning because I just grew up. I just wanted to be the biggest Janet Jackson fan. Like I was as a kid, I just loved Janet Jackson, and I was happy just to be proclaimed the number one Janet Jackson fan. And there's so many moments my dad has with me, but I remember one distinct moment as being a huge Janet Jackson fan. My dad said to me, I'm probably like 16 at the time or 15, and he was like, you know what? If you were to give yourself half the amount of energy that you give Janet Jackson, you could be a bigger star than she could ever be. And I was like, my dad's on drugs because who can be bigger than Janet Jackson? But he planted the seed to say, like, you have a presence, you have something special too. And it's best that you cater what you have special opposed to being the biggest fans of other
Mm-hmm.
people. And my dad just made people who I thought were big, like on mountains, like Oprah. And my dad was like, "Oh, you're better than Oprah. You could be better than Oprah." And I was just like, "What? I can be better than Oprah? Like, what are you talking about?" But when you have the man that loved you before anybody tells you that you can be somebody on an Oprah level, you start to believe it. And when the world is trying to tell you otherwise, it's like it's already blocked because the man who created you planted the seed that no, you are this great woman. So can't nobody tell you otherwise. So I give my dad the first credit. And then when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to like celebrity credit, I gotta show love to Oprah because to me, she's still the queen at this. And then I have a lot of influence from Beyonce because Beyonce to me just proved that being beautiful and talented and just gracious was, a thing. And then of course, like I mentioned, Janet Jackson, because without her, there's no anybody.
I know. And this is a perfect segue that you say Oprah because you are now in my hometown of Chicago. How is
I am.
Chicago? Yeah, how is Chicago treating you?
Chicago has been so great to me. I wasn't born in Chicago. I'm actually from Connecticut, but the acceptance that I have received in Chicago is literally what has helped my career go to the next level. And I'm so grateful because I feel like, they always say if you can make it in New York City, you can make it anywhere. No, if you can make it in Chicago, I believe you can make it anywhere because people in Chicago keep it real and they do not accept everybody. And I'm just so grateful and so humbled that I've been accepted. I'm 7 years. I lived in Chicago 10 years of my adult life. This go
Mm,
around is 7 years. So they
mhm.
say once I get 10 years straight, then I could be like officially a Chicagoan. So I'm trying to get my 3 more years so I could be an official.
No, that's great. And no, you're absolutely right. Chicago, it's like if they embrace you, the whole city will carry you and uplift you, and you can't nobody mess with you. So if you get in good with Chicago, then you definitely got the whole home team behind you. Like it's so true. I'm originally from Chicago, and I have a very similar story to yours, where I spent most of my adult life in New York. So I don't know Chicago as an adult as much, but at the same time, I never had a bad beef with Chicago. So people from Chicago, still people I went to like second grade with, are like, yeah, girl, I love you. So I can definitely relate to that. So what is your opinion? Because I'm asking you this now because you're a host, so I can kind of I can pick your brain on certain things. On your opinion on the terrestrial radio experience versus like podcasts. What's your opinion?
You know, I like both. First, I
Mm-hmm.
come from radio, right? That's what I started off at Hampton University. I'm a true journalist. I've been doing this, so I went through the ringers. I've lived several cities, because radio was always and still is one of is my first love. So I had to travel. Like, I'm the radio personality that picked up and moved every 4 years. What I like about podcasting is it gives you the control. Like we no longer like I've lived in Buffalo, New York. I went to Hampton University, Connecticut, Atlanta, LA, Chicago. So my career took me so many places. What I like about podcasting, you could be anywhere and in one location, or
Mm-hmm.
wherever you
Mm-hmm.
want to be. So I think they're both necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit more love for the to dress like the regular radio as you were talking about first, because that's what I come from. But I have a
Mm-hmm.
respect for podcasting too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about singles on Instagram Live.
I my baby.
It is so entertaining, like beyond like words. And I mean, I was cracking up. Like, what has this woman come up with over here? I mean, you've got so many things going on, but this is such an interesting undertaking. You're hooking up all these people. Explain what singles on Instagram Live is.
It's interesting because I've been doing radio now for 20 years and also different television things. But this Instagram show is kind of what's launching my career to the next level. And the behind the scenes story is that I started in COVID. I was in a relationship. The relationship ended. And, single when COVID first started was like Will Smith and I Am Legend. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't go nowhere. You couldn't be around people. This is pre-mask. So we're like, no one knows about COVID. So you had to really stay in your house. So if you were single, you felt it like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
like this is really like a lonely island. So everybody was doing Instagram lives at the time. I felt like celebrities were jumping on. It was the way everybody was connecting. And I just had this thought to just go online and to hook people up that were single like myself at the time. And I did it the first night I knew, because the goal was to get people to find love. But my slogan for the show is, we don't guarantee love, but we guarantee that you'll be entertained. And it was so entertaining. And then with my media training and knowing how to conduct interviews with, celebrities, I just took that training with regular people talking about love, and it just grew. And what really made it work is I took it serious from day one. I have shows Friday and Saturday nights. It still is on. We now have a Facebook segment to it. Now I do singles on Facebook Live. So that's a whole nother energy with older people. And it's just awesome. Like, I love connecting with people in this way. And it's never going to end, because everybody wants love. It's the one thing everybody wants.
Yeah, that's true. So I want to talk about the most recent episode. I have to defend New York just for a second.
Okay. I think I know what you're about to talk about.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So your friend, what was his name? Killer Touch.
He's a
right?
DJ. Yes.
I'm not discrediting. I don't know anything about him. I don't want to talk about his character. That's not what this is about. But I don't know anybody who would let somebody say the N-word. That's not like, now to your point. You do see in New York, you do see Latino folks will say the N-word. We don't really flinch. It's not a big deal. I don't know anybody that he could walk in a room and say the N-word and somebody wouldn't say something. I've not seen that.
A lot of New Yorkers got mad at me when I said that, but you kind of made the point that I was making, because, for instance, living in Chicago, I've met so many people who are Black. First of all, let me just get this out the way so we can make sure everybody's clear, because they might not know the clip you're talking about. On my dating show, a girl met a guy that I know via the industry who is Caucasian, but Caucasian in the hip hop world, but still Caucasian. And she was saying he uses the N-word and that none of his Black friends check him with it. And I was like, that's not true. I checked him with it before, and we had this whole demise. And what I was saying was New York was different, because like in the Midwest, I met Black people who don't even like Hispanic people saying the N-word, right? Like they're not comfortable with anyone who's not Black saying the N-word. So I was saying in New York, it's a little different, because I know I can't speak for every Black person, but I have met New Yorkers, like you just kind of admitted, who don't mind if a Latino person uses that word. So Touch is kind of like, almost like, do you even know if he's Caucasian? You might look at him and think he's Hispanic. So I think that's why he's been able to get away with it because he's from New York for as long. But we're in a social media world, and I was explaining to him, like if you watch the clip, I explained to him that every Black person has the right to feel how they want to feel about that word. There's some Black people who don't even like anybody saying it, right? And that is your God-given right. There's some Black people who don't play with Hispanic people saying it, right? And that is your God-given right. And there's some Black people that feel like if you're white, most Black people who are white don't want nobody white saying that word.
Yeah.
So I was trying to convey that to him, which I don't think he was really trying to receive. But, we're in a social media world, and I think that energy probably got back to him. So hopefully he'll change his ways.
I think that's a good point. I mean, because he was so unapologetic, it was kind of bizarre to me. Like, it was just like, wow, I just couldn't believe he was that unapologetic. But to your point, yeah, with social media, and if enough people just start inundating him with comments and letting him know, like, yo, this is how we feel, there's a point where people can change. Because I know when I'm wrong about something, I like to take accountability,
Right.
And I just feel like, I just feel like there could be a point where it'll start to click to him. So yeah, I just want to talk about that. And also, you guys have to watch her show, because even the description of the date is so disastrous. It's so
God, yeah.
And the funny thing is, I actually, whatever the truths are on both sides, I actually believe his account of the date. I'll say that. He seemed sincere.
Most people did. I mean, everyone was like, they're both crazy. They're both had madness from the people in the comments. But yeah.
Yeah, so of course we're here, of course, to talk about social society on ALLBLK, and this is great. I mean, you do so much. I mean, how are you able to even do this show and do your Instagram shows and your Facebook show, and then do your radio show? Because radio is a little bit more almost like a corporate 9 to 5 in a sense, right?
No, it's not.
Oh,
I mean, the hardest thing about my job is waking up, literally.
Oh.
The great thing is, so everything I do, I genuinely enjoy and love. So that's key, number one. But you are absolutely right. It is still a lot of work, and it is a lot. So like Fridays and Saturdays are probably the longest days. Definitely Friday's the longest day, because, I do the radio show in Chicago, but when I'm filming for Social Society, I'm in Atlanta. Like I'm in Atlanta right now. So I'm able to
Mm.
do the radio show, with technology, while I'm in Atlanta for Chicago, like Fridays and Thursdays and Fridays when I'm here
Mm.
filming. I just get up super early because it's the morning show. And then normally after that, I might be doing table reads for our show, Social Society. And then I'm trying to work out, girl, because, I'm old school with keeping the body intact. I ain't getting no body surgery. So you got to add the gym in there. And then, you got to get cute. You got to get your hair done, your makeup done for everything else. And then I do
Mm-hmm.
the Social Society. I mean, I do the single show on Facebook. Then I go to Instagram. So it definitely is a lot of work. And I'm happy you realize that, because some people do not realize that I could be up from 5 a.m. and be nonstop until 11
Mm-hmm.
o'clock, especially on
Mm.
Fridays and Saturdays. So
But see, I noticed that, and I always ask questions like that because I noticed that about ambitious people. It is a nonstop thing, and people look at your success and they're seeing, especially like I said, now there's so many viral moments associated with you, and you got some more viral moments on Social Society too, because you also got that exclusive with Tasha K that everybody went crazy with, and
yes.
you see people like Kendra G. She's not just kind of like crawling out of bed and just, just kind of just lazy. It doesn't work like that. So I acknowledge and see what you're doing. I think it's pretty obvious when you see, it's
I
tough.
appreciate that.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you. No, it is. You know what? And I'm not gonna lie, like I prayed for these moments in life, right? Like
Hmm.
I prayed to be in this position. So the times when I feel like it's overwhelming, I just sit in it and I say, I'm overwhelmed right now, but it's all great things. It's all blessings. It's
Hmm.
it's all amazing things. But when I'm genuinely tired, I'll take a break and I say, you know what?
Hmm.
I can only do this much, and that's all that I'm gonna do. I'm
Hmm.
trying to not overwork myself to death, but I am working a lot. But it's great.
She takes her vacations, y'all. There's a lot of them.
Yes.
No, but let's go back into the show a bit. Let's talk about Kendall and the cast now with Regine. You got Angela. Like, what's it like working with these people?
Oh, I love them. Me and Kendall, I feel like we lost souls. His name is Kendall. My name is Kendra. If we were twins, we would have the perfect Kendall and Kendra names. So it's how I got the job. I was actually pitching the single show to the All Black Network. And in the
Hmm.
pitch, the GM, Brett was like, would you be interested in going to Atlanta? And I was like, sure, and then the next thing you know, this was a conversation. And then I learned that the other two girls, Angela Simmons and Regina Carter, was going to be a part of it. And I was just so excited because I feel like all of us bring something unique and necessary for the show. And it's a
Hmm.
joy. Like I'm in heaven working with them. It's so much fun. And, with me being a journalist for so many years, I get to, use some of my training in a lot
Hmm.
of different ways. But it's just an amazing opportunity. I'm so
Hmm.
grateful.
I like the mix up in that sense. I've interviewed Kendall before too, and he is really, really enjoying his moment. He's a really, really good dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
he's amazing. I
mhm.
love him.
I love to see people just like, wow, like this is my life. Like, I love
Yeah.
to see that. Yeah, and of course, Regine is kind of, we've seen her grow up, of course, and Angela as well, actually. So it's nice to see that mix, and I like to see a journalist in the mix too, to kind of just see the different kind of styles. So
Right, right,
that's a good
right.
watch. That's a good watch. What's next with Social Society?
Well, I think right now we're mixing up how we partner up. So like the last episode with me and Tasha K, it was just me and Kendo. Then there was the opportunity for Valentine's Day. It was just me and the girls.
Hmm.
So it's just all about mixing it up with us hosting in different ways, and just really you got to tune in to see what's next, really. And it's so
Yeah.
simple. We're on the All Black app,
Hmm.
right? So you have to have the All Black app. But if you already have Amazon Prime, you can also watch our show because you can watch it on Amazon Prime. And if you have Xfinity and you have WeTV Plus, you could watch it. And yes, we're all black, but we're all black like the Kardashians. If you're not
Hmm.
black, but you love all black stuff, then you will love all black.
Oh my God, Kendra, that is a mess. One more question I wanted to ask you. With
Sure.
you being in the industry, I do wonder, would you say it's difficult, or do you try to distance yourself from being friends with some of the people that you interview, like in terms of like artists and things like that? Do you try to keep a distance to be impartial, or is it okay to be friends?
Well, I will say this. I've been doing it for 20 years now, right?
Hmm.
So naturally, you do become friends with certain celebrities after a while. And I'm never afraid to admit if I have a relationship with a person.
Hmm.
And if I'm like, I'm not going to say anything negative. about that person because of my relationship. And that's literally how I blanket it. Like when you
Yeah.
said that, you'll never see me say anything negative about Keke Palmer,
Mm-hmm.
Ludacris, even Portia. Like there's certain people I have a rapport with, but if there's something happening that they might be judged with, and I'm supposed to speak on it, I'm just gonna be honest. Like I know this person, my relationship with this person is important to me, and
Mm-hmm.
I know this person in that way. So I'm not gonna say anything negative about that person. I especially
Mm-hmm.
think of a Ludacris because he's probably one of the most important celebrities that have done so many things for me behind the scenes. Himself and his manager Shaka. When I mean behind the scenes, just like vouching for me, like
Mm.
saying, "Oh, you give this girl an opportunity." Oh, I try to get a job in Atlanta. They're like, "Yeah, you should have Kendra G." So those are things you don't ever forget throughout your
Mm-hmm.
career, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter, like, and I know them in a certain way. So there's certain people, like I just think of Ludacris. He's probably the biggest one that you're
Mm-hmm.
never gonna see me say anything negative ever about him.
Mm-hmm. And is there ever a time where maybe you do report on something and then somebody gives you a phone call like Kendra G, like, what's up? Why did you talk about that?
Absolutely. It does get tricky. I will
Mm-hmm.
say, let me just okay. Somebody I will use is Jesse Smollett.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jesse. I knew Jesse before everything happened in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. And I had to really go off of my relationship with Jesse. And I had a great relationship with Jesse. Like Jesse, I was in a movie that year, like the month before everything happened. Jesse like bought out the theater, and I was like, wow. So when everything happened, it was really challenging because, I had this relationship with him. And then, I also have to do my job and report what's happening. And I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago and this happened in Chicago. So that was very kind of complicated at times.
Mm-hmm.
And we and him had our off, we had our conversations, on, amongst ourselves. So, but yeah, it can get complicated, but I tried to stay true to the job at
Mm-hmm.
at best. I try to stay
Mm-hmm.
true to the job at best, and that's always first me being authentic and honest with my feelings and reporting whatever the issue is.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. So what's next for Kendra G?
Oh God, what's next? Right, a
I
nap.
know it's a bunch of stuff. I know. I'm
A
like, she
nap
got a
is.
bunch.
Wait, say it
CVS
again.
CVS receipt she about to pull out.
Oh no.
Okay.
I said a nap is next for Kendra G. No, you know what? This is a great moment right now. I
Mm-hmm.
am obviously one of the hosts, Social Society. And again, I'm encouraging everybody to tune in Mondays. We drop our new episodes. Also still hosting the morning show on WGCI in Chicago, the single show on Instagram and Facebook, Friday and Saturday nights. I'm also in a movie right now, North of the 10, that's on BT Plus. And okay, there's a second part to that. I'm not sure if I can tell that information yet. So I'll wait. I don't want to give news I'm supposed to give yet. But
Mm-hmm.
it's so interesting because I be getting opportunities to act. And if you give me a role, I'ma do it. But I don't really have the acting bug.
Mm-hmm.
My ultimate long-term goal is to have a situation like a Wendy Williams, like a Oprah, like a Ellen, like a now Sherry Shepherd, and that have the Kendra G talk show. But I see
Mm-hmm.
that happening in the future. Might not tomorrow, but it's gonna happen one day.
No, I see that happening as well. And I just want to ask, just as we wrap it up, what's the difference between, or what do you like about TV that differs from being on the radio? What do you think about it?
Girl, getting dressed up. Y'all got to see this face, honey. I ain't
I know.
doing this makeup and this hair for nothing. Y'all got to see my outfits, okay?
Radio, you have to
I
roll
just
out of
always
bed.
love television.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I got into radio because I wanted to do TV. Like I started Carson Daly was doing TRL years ago when I was at Hampton. I did research. I was like, I wanted his job. And I learned
Mm-hmm.
that he began in radio, and that's how radio began. TV was always the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest difference is that you just get to see me. I'm really the same person on both platforms. Girl, these wigs is expensive, so they got to be seen.
I really wanted to ask you. I was like, can I go ask her on the side, like, who does her hair? Like, can she tell me where the
Oh,
wigs
so,
is from?
I have a couple people that I have one girl that kind of makes my wig. Shout out to Ayla,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Hollywood Hot. It's Miss Hot Hollywood on Instagram. She makes the wigs. But it's weird because See, we had a lacy. Okay, let me keep it all the way funky with y'all. Cause like I said, I be going to the gym. Like I ain't get no body surgery. So it's difficult to wear the lace because if you go to the gym in the sauna, you're gonna melt the glue off. So it's like finding but the closure pieces don't look as natural at times. So girl, we try to figure out my workout schedule and my wig schedule because they just not trying to be married, honey, but they got to get married.
That's hilarious. No, thank you so much for your time, Kendra. You've been so nice, and like I said, I could just tell your personality just resonates. I know everything that you want to happen is going to happen because you work really hard, and I really appreciate your time. And it's always really cool when you get to talk to people that you don't get to pick their brain as much. So I feel a little special right now.
Oh, you should. No, I feel special. It's an honor to be having a conversation with you. And then just one thing I want to represent before I go too is just like, I feel like I represent, like you said, the hard work paying off because,
yes.
I'm a for real media journalist. Like I've been doing this for 20 years. And sometimes journalists, we don't always get the television opportunities. They usually sometimes go to celebrities. That's just what the game is, right? And I love that for people who went to school for what I do, or people who are, trying to be on television one day, that I represent that you do still have a shot as well too. You don't have to go the reality TV show sector or who you famous and dating sector. Just focus on your craft, focus on hard work, and focus on believing in yourself. Get that little Kanye West. I think everybody needs a Kanye West ego to them and believe that they're the greatest to get there. And trust me, it will happen for you.
I think one other thing that I think is very important that you said is that you were willing to go to smaller markets in order to support your own career. So, you didn't necessarily focus specifically on and you got to those places. You did get to LA and AT and so forth. And it so happens that the hour that we're in with Chicago has just become so huge, and you're a part of that too. So it's very interesting. Like you've become a part of building up this city that was looked at as a smaller market, and now it's an even player. It's very interesting, right?
Yeah, it is. You know what? Here's the deal. That's like, Jay-Z says, put me anywhere in God's green worth, I'm gonna triple my worth. And it's like ultimately, I mean, that's talking about money, but it's like make your mark anywhere. You can make your mark anywhere in the world. Like Charlemagne, who's one of my dearest friends, he's from South Carolina. He wasn't born in New York City, but he was so magnetic and so powerful that New York City accepted him. But he had to first make his mark in South Carolina. And I think no matter where you are, just show up and show out. And you will always, that energy will bring you to the bigger market. But you got to kill it in the smaller market first. And like you said, yes, I was willing to move. I was married to radio, whatever it took. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. It does mess with your personal life because when your career is your first love, your personal life is going to suffer. Unless you're a hoe, then you're going to have the best personal life because then you can sleep with everybody, girl, every time you move to a different city. But that wasn't my ministry that God built me with. So I wasn't a hoe. So yes, I had some lonely nights chasing this dream, but I kept it first, and I'm happy because it's paying off.
It's paying off, and I'm happy. I'm happy to see you win, Kendra G.
I thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Again, guys, it's Koku with blackfilm.com and Kendra G with everything. and she talked about it, of course. We're talking about WGCI. We're talking about Instagram singles live with Facebook and Instagram. I mean, it's just so many things. And of course, we are here to talk about All Black Social Society. She broke down all the ways that you guys can go ahead and stream it. Or if you said Prime Video, you can also stream it.
Yes, you can do the app again. There's an streaming app called All Black. So that's the first way. If you already have Amazon Prime, you can watch it because we are watched on Amazon Prime. Social Society's name of the show. Season 2 is the one that I'm on. And then also if you have Xfinity, which means you have WeTV Plus, you can watch it that way too.
So there's no excuses, y'all. Y'all better go ahead and watch the damn show. Thanks, Kendra G. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye, beautiful.
Bye, beautiful. And I'm going to give me some wigs.
Yes, girl.
If you want to see more content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.